Okay, in this session we will be expressing one quantity as a percentage of another. And express means to show, and quantity means an amount. So the percentage of something in relation to, I guess, something else. So we'll look at some examples. Here's a question. Express or show each of the following as a percentage. All right, so the first question we'll be doing is imagine somebody got 34 out of 40 for their test. So your first step is, remember, out of is a key word, and we know out of means the vinculum. So if we were to work this out, we would have, so question one, sorry. All right, excuse me. So question one, we have 34 out of 40. So your first tip is, first write this in fraction form. 34, and we know that means out of 40. Now there's our fraction, and our next step is, the question asks us to show it as a percentage. And we know to turn anything into a percentage, all we have to do is multiply it by 100 and add the percentage symbol. And we know we simplify before we multiply, so I can cross off a 0 there and a 0 there. I'm left with 10 up here and 4 there. Well, I can divide 4 and 10 by 2, so I'm left with 2 down there, and 10 divided by 2 is 5. So what I'm left with is 34 times 5, which is 170. So 170. And 2 times 1 is 2, so over 2. And this is now a percentage because we multiplied by 100, but we don't leave our fraction like this, or our percentage, because we know it's improper. So 170 divided by 2, 2 into 17, 2 into 1 can't go, so 2 into 17 can go 8 times, remainder 1, and 2 into 10 can go 5. So it's 85%, which is a pretty good score. Okay, next one is 13 out of 30. And we know we have to turn this into a percentage, so we just times it by 100 over 1. Now, just as you're doing this, you can actually estimate what the percentage would be. And a way to do that is, if we have 13 out of 30, well, what is halfway of 13? I know half of 13 is 15. And our score is below 15. So we should expect something below 50%, because we know 50% is half of 100%. And because 13 is less than half of 30, we can estimate, well, it's not too far away from 15. So maybe we have a percentage of about, I don't know, 40%, just say, just as a rough estimation. So the answer you get should be close to that. So let's have a look. Cross off that 0 and cross off that 0. And then we end up with 13 times 10, which is, should have equal sign there, is 130 over 3. And now that's a percentage. And we know we don't leave it like that. And now, how many times can 3 go into 130? Well, 3 into 13 can go 4 times. So I've got 4, because 3 times 4 is 12. So remainder 1. And I can see I'm going to have a decimal, but I'll try and put it in fraction form. And on your calculator, you can show you a decimal as well. And now 3 into 10 can go 3 times, because 3 times 3 is 9. And that means I have a remainder of 1 over, keep the same denominator, 3. So 43 and a third percent. On your calculator, it may show you this, 43.333333%, and we know to write it properly, we put a dot on that 3, because 3 is in our pattern. Okay, both of these answers are correct. The question didn't specify to leave it in fraction form or decimal form, but as long as you write them in both ways, in the proper way, then it's fine. And also we can see we got 43%, and it was close, or 0.3, and it was close to 40%. So most likely our answer is pretty accurate. If we had have gotten just say 90%, then we obviously would have made a mistake. Now our next question asks us, find the percentage of letters the letter A in the word fantastica. I don't think fantastica is a word, but oh well. Now, when you do something like this, your first step is to count how many things there are in the whole, I guess, situation. In this case, we're looking at letters. So your first step is how many letters all together. So count every single letter. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There are 10 letters. So that would be our denominator. So the total amount is your denominator. And we're going to have something out of 10. And what letter are we focusing on? We're focusing on, it tells us the A's. So your next step is, now count how many A's in this whole word. 1, 2, and 3. And that's our numerator. So we have 3 out of 10 A's. Just like before, out of, we know means the vinculum. And now all we're going to do is find the percentage. Because the question asks us the percentage of the letter A in this word. And we know all we're going to do now is times this fraction by 100. Or 100 over 1. And don't forget to add that percentage symbol. And cross our zeros off, simplify before we multiply. And then 3 times 10. We have 3 times 10 on top, which is just 30. 1 times 1 is just 1. And we know we don't have to write that 1. So our answer is 30%. And when you do a problem like this, and you're relating to, I guess, a real life problem, it's good to write a statement. So you can say, therefore, 30% of A's, you can say make up the word, and then you can write fantastica. I can't fit it in, but it's good to just write a sentence to explain what you have found when you're dealing with real life problems. Now, this question here, question 4, is more of a, I guess, a trickier question, and that is because it's asking us to find the percentage of 50 cents out of $2, or 50 cents as a percentage of $2. Now, if you notice how we have cents and then we have dollars, cents and dollars are different units. So you have to change one of these units to be the same as the other. We either will have cents and cents, or dollars and dollars. Now, because dollars is a larger unit, we'll turn $2 into cents. How many cents are there in $2? Well, I know in $1 there's 100 cents, so in $2 there's 200 cents. So our first step is to change up. Just to show you working out, $2 is equal to 200 cents, and we also have 50 cents that we're working with. And now that we have the same units, cents and cents, let's write our fraction. So remember the question, 50 cents as a percentage of $2. So we'll have 50 cents on top, out of, or as a percentage of, $2. Instead of writing $2 now, we will write 200 cents. And now we know to turn anything into a percentage, just times it by 100. And 100 over 1, and add the percentage symbol. So now this is nice and easy. Simplify before we multiply. I can just cross off my zeros, or divide by 100 in this case. So 1 0 from there, and 1 0 from there, 1 0 from there, 1 from there, and I stop because I have no more zeros on the bottom. So I'm left with 50 times 1, which is just 50, and 2 times 1, which is just 2. And it's a percentage now because we multiplied by 100. And what's 50 divided by 2? Or how many times can 2 fit into 50? Well, I can see it will be even because 50 is even. So 2 into 5 can go 4 times, remainder 1. 2 into 10 can go 5 times evenly, and it's 45%. And we'll write our statement. So therefore, we can say 50 cents as a percentage of $2 is 45%. And that's it. We're explaining what we have found. So for this one, it was a bit harder, only because in this case, we had dollars and cents, and we had to change them to the same units. So whenever you see different units, for example, you might have meters and centimeters. Okay, you have to make sure you're dealing with the same units. So you might change meters to centimeters. It's good to change the bigger units to smaller units, because if you don't do that, you may end up with decimals. If I turned 50 cents into dollars, well, I would have had $0.5, and we don't like working with decimals. So just keep that in mind. Okay, so if you're in a classroom, question 5 asks you to find what is the percentage of boys in your classroom. If you're not in a classroom, just make up some numbers. Imagine you had, let's see, 13 boys out of 26 people in the classroom. Now remember, your first step when to do this is first count how many people you see in the classroom, every single person. We'll focus on students. So all the students that are in the classroom, and that will be your denominator. And on top, then you count how many boys you see and put that on top. And then you'll have your fraction and just turn it into a percentage. Now the next sort of section we're looking at is basically finding a certain percentage. And this questions like this you will have seen in, for example, catalogs, or when you have gone shopping and seen sales. So the first question says, imagine there's a sale sign saying 25% of, or we can say off if you wanted to, 25% off $128. So imagine there was a nice pair of shoes that you wanted to buy. They're $128, which is a bit expensive, but there's a sale on, and you want to work out how much you'll be saving. So to do that, we have to we have to see some keywords and change a few things around. So our first step is 25%. We know we can write 25% as 25 out of 100. It's still 25%. This is written in fraction form. That's your first step, okay? Now, off or of, you can see the keyword in off is of. So we started off with of. So we know of in maths means times. And then the $128, we can leave the dollar sign to the end in our answer. We really have 128 over 1. And then look how easy this is. All you have to do is simplify before you multiply and then work out your answer. So let's do that. So we've got 25 over 100 times 128 over 1. I can simplify my 100 and 128. I can divide them by 2 or maybe by 4. But I notice I've got 25 and 100. And I know that 25 divided by 25 is 1. And 100 divided by 25 is 4. And that was much, I guess, quicker to start me off. I can also simplify my 4 and 128. So I'll divide 4 by 2 and get 2. 128 divided by 2, well, 2 into 12 can go 6 times, and 2 into 8 can go 4 times. And there's still even 2 and 64, so I can keep simplifying. Divide by 2, that's a 1. And 64 divided by 2, well, 2 into 6 can go 3 times, no remainders. 2 into 4 can go 2 times. And that's what I'm left with. So 1 times 32 is just 32. 1 times 1 is 1. So we've got 32 over 1. So our answer is 32. Now please be careful. We are not going to add a percentage. Do not add that. We haven't found a percentage. We have found 25% of $128. So we must put our dollar sign here. And that $32 is how much you would be saving if you had 25% off those pair of shoes. So saving $32 is quite a bit of money. And as an extra question, calculate how much would what is the new price of the shoes? If you're saving $32, how much would the price be for the shoes now?